Mic'd up with Mikie Mahtook. Got the boys in. I got Lloyd. We got J. Mitch. We got Jackie Boyd.
He tried to jump up and he might have knocked it in.
Good timing. Let's go. What a start to the Monday. I mean, I'm from Lafayette. My boys will come in and say,
oh, God. So me and Joe on the ground, I got Joe in the headlock. And he's sitting there, he's punching me in the stomach, like, punching me.
Here, is everyone sitting around, who here thinks Chico can practice today after having 5 full beers? And he goes, Chad Jones, right? Chad Jones. 6 minutes. For 7 minutes, right? Chad's like, no, man, I don't think Chico can practice today. And I was like, I look back, I'm like, Jesus Christ. I saw you there. You're more fucked up than me.
On the spirit plane had some issues, I think. She was sleep farting.
you heard her or you just thought it was her?
I sat right next to her. I smelled.
Whoa. What was that?
Time for the show.
Now, when you do go to spring training, are you going to bring your chinchilla and your turtle? My dad tell you about it?
The SEC is, God, they hate fat people. I mean, I get crushed for that. You know what I mean? It's like, come on, man.
Hey, just the South, bro. You got a bunch of food down here. Like they should
Players, look at Lloyd.
You know what, Lloyd?
You're looking for a recruiting coordinator, coach. I'm here.
He's like, I'll piss my pants right now.
No way.
We're wearing gray pants, long gray pants. He goes, I'll piss my pants right now. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to Mic'd Up. Today is Monday, October 14th.
Victory Monday.
I got this stupid cord. I'm about to hold it. This beautiful Monday morning that we have. Big weekend to recap. Hey, Jared coming in live from Miami. We are live in studio with our friends here at Indigo. Jared's live from his
the 305.
His hotel conference room, because he's technically on a conference call. Working from Miami. It was Jared's birthday yesterday. Everybody wish Jared a happy birthday.
Happy birthday, dog.
Happy birthday, Jared. You're getting older, but you look young as
Appreciate it. Yeah, man. Appreciate it. Yeah. Listen, we don't got to talk about all that, but
No.
we're here.
Listen, LSU obviously comes off an enormous win this weekend, gets their second SEC win, first big win of the season. Ole Miss was ranked 7th in the country. LSU jumps from 13 to 8. Jumps 5 spots in the AP poll. I think they obviously have earned that. They've earned some respect. The schedule does not get any easier. You go on the road to Arkansas. I think the line opened up as LSU with an early, 2.5-point favorite on the road. That
Spooky.
shows you how
Rutgers
hard.
is also a 2.5-point favorite.
Right, that did not work out well. We're gonna get to the mic'd up. We're gonna get to the mic'd up parlay that we got knocked down a little bit. Jared, congratulations! You were the only one that hit your bet. Great bet. But we're gonna talk
Don't matter. It's a team win, baby. It's a parlay.
No doubt.
We need squad to win, so one leg don't matter.
No doubt. But we get back on there. But LSU opens a 2.5-point favorite.
I'm going to take it.
Obviously, Vegas knows how hard it is to play there. Those games are always kind of funky. Then they go on the road to Texas A&M. So the schedule does not get any harder, but LSU showed a lot this Saturday. We're going to get into all of that as the show goes on. As I mentioned, the mic'd up parlay got crushed.
It's okay.
Lloyd, he was undefeated going into that game. That doesn't happen often. He came back down to earth a little bit. It's okay. It happens.
Back to the drawing board.
My game did not hit either.
Thank God. Thank God.
Which was fine. Jared's hit, and Jared's kept us. We did not get swept in the parlay bets, but we get back in the saddle this weekend. We talk about it throughout the course of the week. Bills Jets tonight. Jets are trying to get their first win after firing Bob Saleh. The new coach effect maybe. Where they go and they take the game, they win against the Bills. Who knows? But they're playing in New York, in the Meadowlands. Not, is it still called the Meadowlands?
Yeah,
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's still called the Meadowlands. Not in upstate New York.
So technically New Jersey.
Yep, technically they're playing in New Jersey. Bury the Saints. I think the Saints are done. Just put the name on the headstone. Let's move on to next year. Rattler looked like he was going to start off really well. And then the Bucs said, well, hold on.
First throw was awesome.
No. His first half was great. Then the Bucs said, oh, you know what? Let me just blitz you and see if you can figure this thing out. And that didn't work. Tough for a rookie quarterback, obviously. Goes out, throws a touchdown pass. He gets a lot of first out the way in his first game. I think the story of that game was how badly the defense played.
50.
Started off pretty funky. Then they kind of ride the ship, and it got even funkier in the second quarter. 27-24, Saints halftime lead. Then the Bucs put up a 50-burger on the Saints.
Talk about
not great.
Talk about a headstone. That might have been DA's headstone.
Yep, and look,
Your calling card's defense. You got 50?
No doubt. A lot of coaching changes have been made and will be made. He is going.
Bill Belichick's out there.
If they continue to do what they're doing, Bill Belichick will never be at New Orleans because he wants the whole shebang, and he's not going to get the whole shebang here. So I don't think that he's going to be an option. He's not just going to coach, but maybe.
That would be the perfect answer. Get Mickey out of here.
Maybe he wants to do that.
I don't think Dennis Allen's Tom Landry or Newt Rockney.
Oh, and listen, they're gonna have some decisions to make at the end of the year.
All the names you had on that card aren't coming to fruition.
Zach Taylor was another one that was probably on the hot seat. They have it. They're 1-4. Joe Burrow and the Bengals play. Now they won again, making it. They're 2-4. Joe Burrow has probably been playing. He's the best, if not the second best quarterback in terms of stats so far in the NFL. Has been short of the wins. He won that game last night with a 50-yard touchdown run, which was pretty awesome, and then gave the little flex in the end zone. After they end up winning 17-7, maybe they can kind of get jump-started and continue their season. And then staying on the LSU quarterback conversation, the Commanders, I think, showed a lot in the loss to the Ravens. Jaden Daniels went toe-to-toe with the two-time MVP of the NFL and put themselves in a position to win the football game and made it super competitive. The future is bright over there in Washington, and it's fun to watch these quarterbacks perform. That's all we got for the Heineken headlines, but let's get to the LSU conversation because, Jay, you got to watch it on TV. You said you felt the energy on TV. Lloyd was in the stadium consoling people around him, making sure that they understood it was a long game. I was in the suite rallying 75-year-olds to get loud and yell at the crowd. I got an open invite to the suite that I was in. Could you imagine
Could you die in a better place? Stand up.
Can you imagine the energy I was bringing? But it was a fun day. But, Jay, what did you see from the TV? It's a different perspective. I went back and watched it on Sunday. Obviously, you watch it in a different light when you're not in there and you get to see everything. What did you see on TV?
I saw, man, I'll be honest with you. So to first off, to be able to get a win in a game like that it's huge for a program, and it does some special things for your team going forward, not only for the season, but as you continue to build as a program. I saw a team that fought their ass off out there, and they really did they played hard from start to finish, and they were able to finish and get a W in that game. Make no mistake about it, wins like this, in my opinion, going forward, could really turn the tides of what a program has been lately. And I say that, and people might hear that and be like, what is he talking about? This is it's a top program. Yeah, it is, but this program isn't, as far as for winning, not popularity, not any of that other stuff. As far as for winning, it's not where it was a decade ago. And to get back there, these are the kind of games you got to win, because these are the kind of games that bring in the DJ Pickett's and the Bryce Underwoods and all these things, because they want to be a part of stuff like this. The Alabama win last year, they want to be, or 2 years ago. No, last year. Yeah, last year. They want to be a part of stuff like this. So it was pretty cool to watch that, and it was pretty cool to see this team step up when you needed to step up, when you were challenged, make big plays on both sides of the ball. The fourth down touchdown pass, obviously the overtime touchdown pass, the plays that they were able to make, the stands that they made in the second half on defense. I felt like I was watching vintage LSU football, and it was really refreshing, and it was really cool to see, because like I said, when you win ball games like this, these are the ones that they weigh huge. They weigh huge not only for your season this year, but they weigh huge for you going forward.
Yeah, and you mentioned a lot of different things, right? You mentioned this is huge for the recruiting side of it, right? Which obviously, because all these guys are in there, some of them it's their first perception. It's their first what am I saying? First impression.
And don't forget too, you had like 100+ alumni players and stuff that came back this weekend because it was homecoming weekend. So you have all these guys in. You got the crowd going crazy. This is the kind of stuff that recruits want to see, and this is why it's such a huge win for the program.
And we talked before the year started, right? Like, this team has, some young guys that they're going to try to rely on. They've had guys on this team for the last couple years that are really trying to, establish that culture. And they've done well, and they've won games, but they haven't won some of the big games that they probably felt like they should have won. And, you look at USC, right? You look at the 2 Florida State games in a row, and some of these games that you feel like you're right there at the end and something goes wrong and you don't win it, right? This game is huge because now you had the opportunity to win it, right? And you did it. A team that was punching you in the mouth all game, and you're able to take the blow, stay in it, chip away, and finally make the big plays when you had to. That gives a team an outrageous amount of confidence moving forward, so that when they are in those situations again, they say, all right, we've done this before. We're confident in coming through with this. And to me, that's a huge thing, right? Confidence and having these young guys kind of step up. That's the best the defense has looked in 2 years, right? They were flying around. They had 6 sacks, 9 tackles for a loss. They were turning the ball over, interceptions, batting down balls. They were doing a lot of things that we haven't come accustomed to seeing over the last couple seasons. And that was really, really, really refreshing to see as well. Lloyd, how'd you feel in that?
I agree with that, man. One little thing too quickly, they flew around, they played well, and make no mistake about it, I truly believe that Ole Miss team was even better than I thought they were, especially up front. They are a problem. They were good on the defensive front. They were good offensively on the front up there, and they were able to do a lot of things that they wanted to do. And that team played really, really well. And you were able to find a way to come out on the other side of it. And that's why I feel so strongly about what kind of a win it was. Because I'll be honest with you, for probably about 3 quarters, I felt like as a whole, as a team, we watched LSU kind of get their ass whipped. They kind of got pushed around. They kind of got beat around, and they found a way to win that game. That kind of stuff is it's transcending for a program.
Yeah. And look, they gave up some chunk plays a little bit on defense. Offensively, they started off really slow. Got down 10-0, but I think the defense, now obviously, some mistakes on the Ole Miss side, but that's part of football, right? You got to make plays, and you got to make the plays when they're available to you, and if you don't, then that's on nobody else but you, right? And so then, LSU gets a break with the drop touchdown on the first drive, and the offense kind of sputters a few times. They get down 3-0, and they turn the ball over on a ball that hit off of Campbell's head, and it ends up being tipped up and picked off. The defense comes up. They get to a 4th and 1. Lane Kiffin goes for it. The defense comes up with a big stop. Whether he should have gone for it or not, not really the conversation. The conversation is he did, and the defense was able to stop them on 4th and short and make a big play to keep points off the board. So even though they gave up chunk plays and they may have given up some yards when it mattered most, they got after the quarterback with sacks. They made turnovers when they had to. They're able to make big stops and have tackles for loss and keep them behind the chains. Like, that's all things that we've been wanting to see from the defense, and we got to see it. And you saw some cornerbacks step up. Zy Alexander, enormous, right? I think everybody knew how important he was, but the way he played on Saturday makes him even more important moving forward because he was a shutdown cornerback. He made some plays on the football, interceptions, almost had 2, and it allowed some of the other cornerbacks and schematically and defensively to take a lot of pressure off some of those young guys, and I think you could see it, and it kind of built the confidence in the secondary.
Lloyd, what do you got? What you think? Where you at with this?
I was trying to find the video of the recruit that, like, people have made a big fuss about storming the field, whether you like it or not. I mean, that was an atmosphere that totally changed the dynamic of that football game. And I know it's like could be a very LSU take, but when Tiger Stadium is right, and it was one of those games you could feel it. You could feel it building up throughout the week. Where if you were around Baton Rouge and you saw it on Thursday, Friday, where it started to build up to where it's going to be one of those environments, and you saw it like bear fruit. Where if that game's not in Tiger Stadium, I don't know if LSU wins.
Right.
And that's my biggest takeaway of what I saw from LSU. They fed off the crowd, and then you saw Lane Kiffin kind of get into his own head after the first play call that didn't hit. Like, you get a drop, and that happens whenever you're playing in an environment like that. But that whole place was on tilt from first whistle to last whistle. LSU never led that game for 0 seconds. Final gun.
Not 1 second. Until the final whistle was blown.
Until then it's over, and the lights go off, and it's time to go home, and nobody went home.
Hey, I'm glad you mentioned that. So the reason why I keep pushing on saying this is like a transcendent win is because that situation itself reminds me of something. So let me take you back right here. First off, there's not a game that we lost in football when I played there that I felt like going into the game, I don't really know if we should win this game. Like, we don't really match up with them. I'll give you this, though. If I go back to the 08 baseball season, we were not a good team. We had a whole bunch of young players, but understand that same team brought in the #1 recruiting class in the country that year, right? So that's who we had in. We went into a series against Georgia that weekend, and they were the #1 team in the country. They had a shortstop hitting 400-plus, who was Gordon Beckham. They had a closer throwing 99 to 100. They had good starters. They were the #1 team in the country, great team. They beat us. They beat us Friday, they beat us Saturday, we tied them in extra innings on Sunday, and they left with a tie. And after that weekend, playing them that weekend, we had 2 times we should have won the game on Friday and Saturday, we let it slip away. We were up 9-2 at one point on Sunday. We let it slip away, we let them come back, and we ended up tying that game. That weekend was over, and that's the first time that team, and mind you, after that weekend, they're still the #1 team in the country. They're still the #1 team in the SEC. We were 11th place in the SEC. But it was after that weekend that our team we felt like, oh shit, we are pretty damn good. Like, we can play with dudes like that. We can play with teams like that.
Right.
I feel like that's what that was for this team, for this LSU team. Now, obviously, they didn't lose this game, but to be able to beat someone in a primetime big game who's ranked above you, who's done more, you do that, you change the tide of what's going on, and I feel like that's what they were able to do in this ball game.
Yeah, no doubt. And it's top 5 stadium experiences of my life. I know you're about to get into that a little bit, but like, you talk about LSU them playing somewhere else and them losing the game. Yeah, I think that's a fair assessment of the game, but they didn't, right? They were able to play at home, and the crowd shut out. The light show addition to the stadium,
I feel like I was at an EDM concert.
I mean, it was
Molly.
unmatched.
It was a drug.
It was the set it off.
Oh.
When they played Set It Off and they had it synchronized to the light show with all the bands and stuff.
I will say the one thing that was a massive mistake was giving throwable things.
Oh, no
to the
doubt. I
student
mean, you knew
section.
that was going to happen.
Yeah. Those things were raining down on
And
people.
then the second massive mistake is the PA announcer announcing, please don't throw them on the field, because they're just going to throw them on the field more. right? So
I saw those in the seat. I
You
go,
can never announce that. You know exactly where they're going if you got to announce that.
dude, I saw them on the seat. Whenever you got there, I was like, this is gonna be a big problem.
yeah, and
There's
it
not a-
wasn't like they were plastic, dude. That kind of hurts from a high up.
It's all
I don't
set.
think they had a ton that like.
They had something
made
to
it
cup the
onto the
wind that
field.
made it like
Yeah.
it's like a paper plane. Like
Yeah,
if you catch the
there's
if you catch the
jet
wind,
stream.
you get it on the field. But other than that, like I don't think LSU will ever do that again, which is unfortunate because you kind of like LSU fans ruin everything that's good. Like neck is gone, but then it's not. So they'll find something to throw
Yeah.
regardless. I knew it was a vintage Tiger Stadium, like old school Death Valley. Whenever after like, I think it was the first fourth down stop, and then LSU didn't score. Whenever the beer started falling on my head, I was like, "Oh, we're here, baby."
Yeah.
like it coming from the suites.
Yeah.
I was like, "Yeah, good."
Yeah.
Even the rich are throwing it down on me.
Yeah, no, it's it was electric. It was an electric environment, and that's what we've all come to expect, and that's what we've all grew up being a part of in Tiger Stadium. And I think we've had some big games, right? The Alabama game 2 years ago was pretty awesome. Kind of in that same vein, I think the added lights and the way that they can kind of interact with the fans, I think that's a whole different part of the experience now, and I think it's a great addition to it.
No, tell the truth. It was the defensive stops, baby. Like, we haven't seen, even when Alabama came in here 2 years ago, it was a 50-something, wasn't it like 50-something, 40-something? Wasn't it a super high-scoring game?
Yeah, no doubt.
That felt like LSU football
Yep.
because you got defensive stands in the second half. You got defensive plays made. You got the defense to get you got playing music on third down. You got defense getting off the field.
Yeah, you're
that
right.
Shit felt like vintage LSU football. That's what made it feel like that.
That's a great point.
God, you're
Deep-
so
We
right.
ain't never had light shows before. That was never a thing. You brought it back because you started playing some damn defense. Not look, I want to score 50 every game. We all know that's not going to happen though. But to be able to get stops like that, that's different. That's the shit that we remember. That's what you grew up on, and that's what you're like.
Yeah.
Wait, this is a different feel.
No doubt.
This
And
is
then
different.
Then you get to overtime and you realize, like, damn, they can't do anything. They don't gain. They go backwards in overtime and force their kicker to kick a 58-yarder.
Longest field goal made in Tiger Stadium
They
history.
went backwards. They did not go forward. They were getting penalties. They couldn't false starts. They were getting delayed games.
Yeah.
They were getting all this stuff that they couldn't do. They were a mess, and that is a credit to the fans and a credit to the stadium. And the reason why that, and we've talked about that a lot. What brings offense is great, but what brings the most energy to stadiums? And you're right, it's the defense. That's a great point, right? The light show's great. The light show doesn't hit as hard if the defense isn't playing the way they played last night or Saturday night.
Yeah, it was cool, man. Like I said, watching a game like that, it makes it something different, and I'm excited to see what they do going forward. And like, mind you, too, this is why I think it's so cool. This is why I think somebody like Blake Baker earned that top assistant money that he gets right now is because of the defensive stops and the things that they did in the second half. But make no mistake about it, like this Ole Miss team still ran for 180.
No
they
doubt.
still threw for 280 and dropped an 80-yard touchdown. Like, there were so many things that team still did good because they were a very good ball club, and you still walked away with a win.
No doubt.
And that's why I'm like, oh, this is where it becomes different. And I think once a team starts seeing that they can win ball games like that, that's when you get people to start playing above their skis, practicing above their skis, walking around town above their skis. You start getting people to start being above who they are because now they're doing stuff that they never did before.
Yeah.
And that's when shit becomes different.
And look, sidebar to this whole conversation. Can you imagine hosting
Oh,
a playoff game where it, like, you win, you move on, you lose, you go home? Like, LSU's Tiger Stadium has never, ever experienced that with those stakes. Think about it. Never. You never had a playoff game to where you're hosting a playoff game. If you win this, you legitimately you move on to the next round to legitimately win a national championship. You always had to win games because you had to see if you got voted in, you made it in, blah, blah, blah.
go to New Orleans.
This is, hey, you win, you move on. You lose, you go home. Can you imagine, like, the desperation, that not even bad desperation, but the desperation you're going to feel in the stadium and that energy? Wow.
Can you imagine how long Mikey's going to be clamoring for tickets because he won't be able to get them if you thought he was clamoring for
Listen to
the
me.
Ole Miss game?
Listen to me. I
Earned
will
up
say
all his
this.
favors.
I will say this. I had two sweet tickets to this game before the season started. It was the other four that I had to try to find. I will promise you, I ain't looking for any tickets in that situation. I'm getting 2, and that's it. I ain't trying to get anybody else's tickets. I can promise
Might be
you that.
1.
I can promise you that. Yeah, maybe 1. Hey, sweetheart, you're staying at home.
Yeah, love you.
Yeah.
Chicken nuggets.
Watch at the
For
party
everybody.
box. Watch at the party box. But no, I think, obviously we can highlight some of the guys, and I think that, we're all going to kind of highlight the same type of players. But, Whit Weeks' performance this weekend was pretty insane. 18 tackles, 10 solo tackles, pass defended. You broke up that pass in the goal line, sacked the quarterback at the end of the game. Or was it the end of the game? Yeah,
End of the regulation.
He was everywhere. He wasn't missing tackles. I think there was a stat last year. LSU had 18 missed tackles. I think this year they only had 9, which actually obviously makes a huge difference when you don't miss. And I don't know how you get that stat.
Yeah.
I don't know how that stat comes about. Like, I feel like last year they missed more. I feel like they missed more than 18 last year. Yeah,
no, it's probably like the era stat. Like, it's a good question, but it's probably like what feels like it should be, quote unquote, routine, if you will.
Because it feels like last year they missed more than 18.
You highlight Whit, and Whit had a great game. Like, it was actually a coming out party, if you ask me, for him. Like, there's things you saw him do. But when I talk about, for me, like when I talk about playing above skis and doing stuff that you're not used to doing, there's 2 things that came true in this thing for me is that Garrett Nussmeier has got a pair of dump truck. He ain't scared. He ain't scared. He don't care. He gonna just wing it. He will do whatever he wants. He don't give a damn, and I respect the hell out of it because he's got an arrogant arm and he feels like he can put it in any window. There's not a window he's seen that he does not like. But secondly, when you look back at the stat sheet, efficiency, that wasn't even a thing. He was 22 of 51.
Right.
But you won the ball game, and that's what I mean. Like when you see guys that are not afraid to go get it, don't even put up like a great stat line, never stopped, never reeled it in, and you win a ball game, you're like, oh wait.
Yeah.
If I hit on a couple more of these, or maybe if I take the safer check down or I do this and I keep us rolling, what can we do then? Where might we go then? How good will we be then? If these guys go up, and I'm not saying like, there was a whole bunch of 50-50 balls that were not for sure that I think when you start playing with that kind of confidence, you just find ways to make this. Like you literally just do. I think a lot of these balls get caught. It's just there's so much shit that changes when you win a ball game like this. And like I said, if I would have told you that they ran for 180 before the game, if I'd have told you that they should have thrown for 350, if I'd have told you that we completed 40% of our passes, you'd have said, well, that's an L. There's no way we win that game. I don't give a shit where we are. You win that game, and that is how stuff like this changes.
No doubt. And if I had told you, hey, Ole Miss is going to convert 12 third downs.
And have 22 opportunities.
And have 22 opportunities. You're like, damn, that means we can't get off the field on third down. Not the case, right? We just got them to third down almost every single time, right? Like they had 22.
And let me tell you too, a team like that on third down is short. People don't understand. Like third down is short with a team like Ole Miss and what they do and how they run their offense with as RPO heavy as they are, with the quarterback that is. He's not a shifty quarterback. He does run, and he does find ways to fall forward. So when you got RPO, quarterback that runs and falls forward, and you got a decent running game or a running game that's effective, let's just put it like that, it's almost damn near impossible to stop a team like that on 3rd and 4 shorter. It's almost impossible because you can't cover it all.
Right, and they did it, right? And they were able to pull through and win the game. We talked a little bit off here. I think part of that inefficiency, and I think you agree with this, is that Ole Miss's defense is really good, right? I think their defensive line, it was really good, and I think they performed really, really well. And, I think part of that is them just making Nuss uncomfortable, getting in the backfield, getting around his feet, and making him get rid of the ball a little earlier and maybe throw off his back foot a little too much. But you know what? That's part of the pressure, and I think that's some credit to Ole Miss's defense. But he stood there, and he kept going, and he made 3 of the most enormous plays definitely of his career to this point, right? The first fourth down conversion to Mason Taylor that he threw that was not wide open, right? Threw the ball up. Mason Taylor went up and got it. Obviously, Mason Taylor is that guy in that situation. I think he's proven that. And then the 3rd and 13 where he was almost sacked, scrambled out, went right, threw the ball across his body, converted that to Mason Taylor as well. That everybody thought was a touchdown, elbow on the ground. those types of plays are winning plays. And then obviously 4th and 5, that insane throw to Aaron Anderson did exactly what they practiced, trusted everything. Hey, if he's even, he's leaving. Hey, I saw him. He got to the cornerback. I know where he's going to be. I'm going to lead him out there. I'm going to trust that he's going to get there, and he did. I mean, those are some major, major plays. Another guy, though, that I want to highlight, and I think he played this the greatest game that he's played in his entire career, and I think that's Major Burns. Major Burns played the best game that I've ever seen him play. 2.5 sacks. He was everywhere. Made 8 tackles. He played. This is the fastest I've seen him play, and the most confident I've seen him play. And I think that was a huge reason why the defense played so well. Lloyd, you got anybody?
Yeah, Major Burns was huge.
You want to talk about?
He played well in that game. Who you got, Lloyd?
Oh no, I would highlight Major Burns too, but I was just going through the stat sheet, and if you look at it, not to be like the negative person here, because I was positive the entire night. I felt good about how LSU was playing, but you give up 464 yards, 22 first downs, 11 on the ground, and it felt like that every opportunity LSU had to kind of or Ole Miss had to win that game, it kind of went the opposite way. Like they put themselves in position to win that football game, and LSU, like I said, it felt a lot of Tiger Stadium, but LSU couldn't run the ball at all.
Right.
Like there was Walter Nolan blew that whole thing up, and Ole Miss's defensive plan was very good. And what I want to highlight is what Joe Sloan and the offense did, offensively in the second half. They figured out that this too high coverage, if Nuss isn't going to run, and he did it one time where you had to have it. 3rd and 13, he scrambles out and gets a first down that you had to have. Like you said, nuts are as big as you can fit into a fucking Tonka truck. But
Tonka.
Big Tonka. Cat.
Okay, there you go.
There we go. But for him to play the way that, when the cards are on the table, Nuss is that dude. He's proven it time and again. Well, you don't want to be in that spot all the time, but what they did offensively when they started putting motion to kind of help Nuss identify what was going on defensively, I think that was a huge step for Joe Sloan, and you've seen the LSU offense make adjustments. They get better as the game goes on, and without C.J. Daniels, without Shelton Sampson really making an appearance, it would have been a great time for Chris Hilton to be out there because you're trying to exploit them vertically, and like we were saying before the show, if you can't do it this way, do it this way.
Yep.
And so they went horizontal, and it started to bear fruit there at the end of the game where you got some actual things going after the defense has actually kept you absolutely in the game.
And I'm glad you mentioned that, right? You talk about the second half adjustments offensively. I think the offense kind of start to move the ball a little bit more efficiently. You talked about the offensive numbers for Ole Miss. LSU was almost right there with them.
Right there with you.
They just did it a whole different way, right? Obviously more in the air. I think Nuss had 330-something yards passing.
337, and you ran for 84.
Right. And so wasn't very efficient on the ground. But if you go look at what the defense did in the second half, they did it again, right? They didn't give up many points in the second halves of games they've played. They only give up 9 in the second half and overtime against Ole Miss team, right? They didn't allow Ole Miss in the end zone in basically 3 quarters, 2.5 quarters of football again. And to me, the way that they're able to do that every second half is going to bode well for the future of the season.
And it's not a fluke.
No.
You've seen it again. You saw it at UCLA. You saw it, take Nichols for what it's worth. You saw it against Nichols. You saw it against South Alabama.
You saw it against South Carolina.
That's probably the better example. I remember UCLA just because they gave up 1 yard of defense, or 1 yard of offense on defense in the third quarter. Blake Baker knows what he's doing, and it's so, Jared Mitchell highlighted, which I don't know how we missed that because being in the stadium, it felt like a vintage, and that's why. It was the defense that was your calling card until Nuss kind of took the game over there late in the fourth. But that's what made it feel like old school LSU, where you feel like you can trust your defense, and that's why I think going into overtime, that's why Brian Kelly didn't go for 2. He's like, put the defense back out there.
And that's look, and that's confidence.
Yeah.
That's those guys kind of understand.
I'll tell you something. He only did it, I believe, one time in the game. I obviously already talked about him, but I think something completely new is unlocked. If Garrett Nussmeier is going to start saying to himself, hey, if I can get us with my feet, with my legs, I don't know, 2 to 4, 3 to 5 first downs a game, that offense is completely different. I don't care if it's 3rd and 15 or if it's 3rd and 3, and we drop back, they 2-shell us, and they give him the opportunity to go 2-man, and everybody's got their backs turned, and he takes off and gets you 6, gets you 15, gets you 25, whatever it is, right? If he can find a way to say, I'm going to get us 2 to 4, 3 to 5 first downs a game moving forward, different. I'm telling you right now, it's going to be completely different because there was times where I saw him. There was a couple times he rolled out and was looking for somebody, which obviously you want him to do. You need him to do that, and he was a good 4 to 5, maybe even further yards from the line of scrimmage where he chose to make a throw, and it's an incomplete pass. So basically, you never even threatened the line of scrimmage and gotten past it, and you could have ran and gotten positive yards. If he starts doing that, it changes the game because those guys will start coming out of coverage, understanding that he might run and he's going to be able to do what he wants. It doesn't have to be Jaden Davis at all, not even close. But if he starts doing that, I promise you, that offense will start getting rolling quicker, and it'll start opening up even more for him.
It would make his job so much easier, which is I think they need to realize, like, because I agree with you. I saw the same thing that you did. Whenever he's out the pocket, he did the hard part. Like, his ability to move inside the pocket is elite. But whenever you break the pocket, like, you did the hard part. Now just go get 6-7 yards and slide, and let's get, first down, let's live to play another down. But, like we were talking before the show, arrogant-ass arm where he's like, I can fit it in that window. Like, he sees it, and he lets that thing go. Where it's like, brother, ain't nothing there, but it's like, yeah, I bet there is.
I swear to God, he hasn't seen a window this year that he doesn't like. I'm just telling you. If he chooses not to throw, it's because he sees a better window, but it's not that he didn't like the one that he saw.
No, and if he runs, he's going to regret not throwing it. It's like, oh, I could have fitted in there. I was telling Jared before the show, it's like the Green Goblin mask. Like, that's his Brett Favre jersey. Just like throw it.
Because here's the deal. Like, yeah, that's part of his game, but that's what makes him so good, is knowing that, like, hey, but if you can hone it in, you can do it right.
You can make it so much easier on yourself.
And look, and the beauty of it is he doesn't shy away after he throws the interception. He continues to go, and I think that's important. Like, if you're going to do that, but then you go and you make a mistake, and then you just kind of go into a turtle shell, and you're not able to be aggressive when throws are there, that's not good either.
Dude, I've never seen – look, I get it, man. Like, I know he's not a young kid. I know he's not, new to the block. I know he's not new to college football. But I've never seen someone with less game experience at this level that has – one, that plays with the anticipation that he does, and two – that just does not have like a scared bone in his body. He threw picks and he did not, he kept throwing the rock. He kept trying to fit it in tight holes. And that, to me, like, that tells me you have that it factor, which that it factor is what takes good to great, great to legend, legend to absolute Hall of Fame. Like, that's what that factor does. And I think as you see him start progressing and getting more experience, it's going to be scary. It's going to be scary.
Dude, I was listening to the post game with Richard Dixon and Charles Hannegriff, and Richard Dick Dixon was like, it's rare to find a quarterback that has a complete, like, memory wipe where he throws an interception, like, I don't give a fuck, like, give me the ball again.
Yeah.
And
he don't care.
He don't care. And, like, I heard you say it, like, former players that are saying that, it's like, that's a rare quality to have where I'll throw an interception, give me the ball back, and I'm going to throw it again. Because you've seen it happen where guys get gun shy, and I hate this for Jarrett Lee because it happened to where he was put in a bad spot and the offense didn't help him at all. And then it became, you were an all-SEC quarterback to you're running second team, essentially. And then, but when we need you to throw the football, you're going in. It's like you're putting me in an impossible spot. For Nussmeier to have that belief in him, like belief in himself, and for the coaching staff, obviously, to protect him the way that they are, because I don't think they want him to run, because I don't know where the season goes without him.
I love that you bring up the coaching staff and that, because we never really touched on that, but that's also an awesome job by Joe Sloan and obviously the quarterback coach and stuff to empower him to have him understand, like, hey, we don't want you reeling stuff back like that. We want you to go play your game. So when he makes those mistakes, because he is human, he's going to make mistakes, that he does not feel scared to go back and do those things. But I also want to touch on something that I told y'all last week when we talked about this stuff. Didn't I tell y'all, hey, I know we hadn't really seen it. It's not necessarily going to be stuff that they just put in this week, but I promise you, don't be surprised if you see something from some of the tight ends that hadn't really been a part of the game. Did Trey Green not score on an RPO this week? How many times have we saw that this year? Told y'all this shit was coming this week. I knew it was coming this week.
Yeah, they're moving Trey Dez going to be playing a lot more wide receiver.
It happened so much so that they're putting him at wide receiver now.
Yeah.
So he's a problem, bro. Hey, he's a problem. He is a matchup nightmare.
Yeah, he and Brian Kelly mentioned that, right? He said that he's only played football. He started playing football sophomore year of high school. Or junior year of high school.
This is his third year.
He was a basketball player, right? That's what he is. But he's a freak athlete, and he's got uncanny ability to go up and get the football. A lot of basketball players, they're great on the court, but when they're on the field, for some reason, they're not real good at going up and getting balls and all that kind of stuff. But the blocking aspect obviously is a learning process for him because he hasn't been around it. And so they said, all right, you know what? We got 2 tight ends that we're confident enough that they can go out and block. You go out there, and we want you to be a weapon on the outside, especially because we have some injuries on the receiver room, so we don't have as much depth as we may have thought we were going to have. You go out there, and you become a matchup nightmare. You run slant routes and box somebody out, and we're just going to throw you the football, and you're just going to get higher than everybody, and you're going to catch it, and we're going to score a bunch of touchdowns. And so I'm glad they did that. I think that's, it's obviously something they've been working on. Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead. Finish.
No,
What was you saying?
I was like, that's obviously something they've been working on. You've kind of seen it. He only has 3 catches. 2 of them are touchdowns. So they know, what his potential is, and they're going to kind of ease him in. But I think at this point, hey, we're forced to put you at receiver. You're going to go receiver. It's going to be an easier transition for you, too.
Have to play.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest part of it, too. And I got – so and this is just me, especially when it comes to football. Football is an absolute war of attrition, and you're going to be playing man down or men down or multiple men down pretty much week in and week out. Like, that's just going to be a thing. So his opportunity at receiver is obviously opening up with the 3 receivers that have gone down. And I personally, when I look at, like, injuries, and a lot of people always talk about injuries and say, oh, we didn't win because we didn't have this player or we didn't have that player. Guess what? I promise you the other team's in the same situation. Didn't Henry Parrish leave the game at some point, right? Didn't Trey what's his name, Trey Harris, the receiver?
Yep.
Didn't he leave the game in the second half and didn't play the rest of the game? Everybody goes down. For me, when we speak about injuries, either whether you want to go side of the ball or at position groups, I like to go position groups. But for me, game changers are the only ones that really matter. And what I mean by game changer is when I come into game planning for you, and I'm sitting here saying, all right, how are we going to stop you or how are we going to score against you? Those people that I try to either put in conflict if I'm an offense, the people that I want to put in conflict, the people that I'm saying we're building our game plan around you or staying away from you or being able to utilize whatever it is that you don't do good or do good, however you go about it. Or on the other side of the ball is, hey, we need to be able to get the ball into this guy's hand or this guy's hand, or we need to be able to run behind this guy. The absolute game changers, those are the ones that when they're out, to me, that's when it changes the game. If you don't have a Nussmeier, if you don't have a Kyren Lacy, why I say Kyren Lacy is because Kyren Lacy is the one who, if you think about it, if I'm a defensive coordinator and I'm scheming up how I'm going to stop this offense, well, Kyren's the one with experience. Kyren's the one that's on the field the most. Kyren's the one they're using a whole bunch of motion stuff, and when they put him in conflict and they try to get him open and they do all that stuff with him. If he's out of the game, that's a big deal. He's a game changer because he's the one we've been planning for. So, like, those are the type of people, to me, that matter. So I'm not saying that everyone's expendable, but it does become next man up when it's other guys, the supporting cast, if you will, that kind of goes down. So if you're losing game changers, that's what changes the game in my mind for me when you talk about injuries.
I hate to say it, but you could almost put, because of the way that LSU can throw the football, that's where you can almost put Caden Durham in that camp. Like, you weren't able to run it, and he went out for a large majority of, like, the end of the third, into the fourth quarter where he wasn't playing. And you would think that would be a huge difference maker, but because of Nussmeier's ability to throw the football and Kyren Lacy stepping up and Mason Taylor became a real problem. I think that's a game changer in my mind, is Mason Taylor. And if you're going to use Trey Green the way that they plan on using it, there's no reason you can't score in the red zone.
Well,
that solves the problem, and now he becomes a game changer.
No doubt, and I think that the run game, they're not going to be the most electric running team in the country.
Walter Nolan ruined your day.
Right? No doubt, right? Like, they had a really good defensive line, but I think
look, Walter ruined your day, but let's truth be honest about it. He was out there, but you're still working towards getting Caden Durham to 100%. He wasn't as explosive, and I think that was pretty obvious to see. You were lucky to get what you got out of him. Hopefully, as the weeks go, that kind of those toes or toe, whatever it is, they start to feel better, and you hope that you can get that back to that spot. But he wasn't 100%. Yeah, let's just be honest about that.
100%, right? And I think that's what I was going to say. I think that the running game is going to continue to progress. It may not be the most electric running game out there, but I think you're going to see it be sufficient. I think part of that is, offensive line has been, pretty solid, pretty good on the pass protection side. On the run game, they've been less than stellar. I think a lot of that comes from, having a new center, right? Having this guy kind of fit into the chemistry and kind of understand how everybody moves and works together. Brian Kelly's mentioned it. but it makes a lot of sense. He's a redshirt freshman. He's going to be really good.
Right.
You know, but he's the guy that touches the ball as much as the quarterback touches the ball. So he's got to understand that. You know, they've got some false start penalties. Maybe he's snapping the ball a little slower than the other centers have used to. So it's like all of those things are going to continue to get better, and I think you're seeing that because the first 5 games of the season, let's take away the USC game, right? After that game, those 4 games after that, you saw a lot of people rotating in and out. This game you did not, right? This game you saw Sage Ryan played every snap at safety. Jordan Gilbert played 85 of the 87 snaps back there. Major Burns played 84, right? You had both cornerbacks, Zy Alexander and Ashton Stamps, played every snap, and P.J. Woodland played 11. So you do that before you get to the real nuts and bolts of the SEC season so that you can see, okay, let's get these guys as much experience because when it comes down to it, we're going to play the guys and they're going to play the most. You would like to be able to rotate more in, but I was happy to see that, and it was evident in the way the defense played too.
And I'll go ahead and say, because Brian Kelly talked about this last week whenever he was talking about, it was actually during the bye week when he said, look, I know we've rotated people in and out on the defensive secondary. He goes, that's not going to happen when we get to, like, SEC play and we get into, essentially he was talking about Ole Miss, like, we're going to find our guys and we're going to stick with them. And you ran down those numbers. That's who you're going to see. And you saw that Lane Kiffin was trying to target the freshman 11 snaps. You saw him on the screen 4 times.
Yep.
And Woodland played a fantastic game for what he was tasked with. And also Zy Alexander did when they put him on an absolute island. And he lived up to every single – Yes.
Zy Alexander, I think he had 10 passes thrown his way. They completed 4. So at a 40% clip. That's pretty good.
And it's all one-on-one.
Yeah.
Even though Lane Kiffin would say it was
he
pass
played
interference.
well.
Yeah, that's what
I'm telling you, man, that second half felt like old school, legit LSU football.
Hey.
When you saw the amount of stops and them getting other teams to fourth down the way they did and continuing to do that, continuing to keep you in the game until the offense figured out a way to do what they needed to do. That's football. That's team football.
No doubt. And I think what made me really feel like, damn, this feels like it's getting closer and closer to LSU defense, right? They made the tackles. That's important. But you started seeing balls on the ground more, right? You started seeing guys run routes. And
shout out Dom McKinley.
Yep. You're seeing Zy Alexander knock balls down. You're seeing Ashton Stamp have 3 pass breakups. You're seeing P.J. Woodland do the same thing. You see them understanding, hey.
Ball in the air.
Ball in the air. Let's get the ball down. You're seeing that development, and they made some really big-time adjustments. Yeah, sure, they got beat a couple times, right? That's the nature of the game. But you start to see that, and you're like, damn. All right, they're not going to get those easy 7-yard completions and get tackled anymore. Now they're getting, with Zy Alexander back there, I think that it makes it a little bit tighter of a secondary, and that was fun to watch too.
Yeah, Jay Mitch, I thought Corey Raymond could only recruit. I thought he couldn't coach.
Yeah, that's all he does is just a recruiter. He doesn't help the one guy get a little bit better and or move on and do something different. His fastball's the recruiting, right? That's what he does.
I'll be goddamn if I'll get a 5-star and make him better.
Yeah, no doubt. And listen,
I've been trying to tell y'all, not y'all, been trying to tell y'all this for a while now. I'm telling you, Corey Raymond is a damn coach and a damn good one. He ain't just a recruiter.
We talk about
it helps both.
Yeah, it does help. Yeah, that's a good combo to have. It's a good combo to have.
DJ Pickett coupling down and
watch how good I make you.
And if you're Scott Woodward and the LSU football, whoever does the contract, go ahead and sign that extension because it's a 2-year deal. Let's go ahead and make that a 10-year deal.
Yeah, let's just go ahead and extend it.
Pay the man.
Pay that man.
And I don't look. We've talked about a bunch of guys. Haven't mentioned Braden Swenson yet. 7 sacks on the season.
Didn't play a lick last year.
Didn't play much. And when he did, it was like, why is he not playing? Why is he not playing? Why is he not getting more snaps? Because every time he was in the game, it felt like something good was happening, but he didn't play much. And then, you get a coach that can coach him up, teach him what to do with some technique. You're very athletic. You're a big dude, right? You can get after the quarterback. Let's get some technique and see what happens. Now he's got 7 sacks on the season. The record is Arden Key with 12, right? He's on pace to break that, right? He's on pace to break the 12 sacks in a season. And then Savion Jones is doing the same thing on the other side, right? Like, you have 2 bookends that are playing really good football.
you would talk about the coaching staff. Go ahead and get Kevin Peoples, lock him up too, because the difference from last year to this year is unbelievable. Like we were saying, it's the same people, and now you're just putting them. You coached them up, and you put them in a position to succeed, and you can see that they're talented. And now you have an actual LSU defense that's able to get after the passer, and that is what Blake Baker's done, what Kevin Peoples has done, what Bo Davis has done. Like, that defense looks so much different with all of the exact same players, minus 2, which would be Jacobian Guillory and Harold Perkins. And
Right.
the defense looks better.
Right. Which is a
Testament to coaching.
exactly. And
Testament to coaching, and it's a wild thing to think that somehow the defense has looked better without a Harold Perkins in the lineup. It's wild to think because we know what kind of talent and what kind of player that man is.
yeah.
It's a conversation that happens around the tailgate quite a bit.
No, I mean, it was, look, that was a huge win. Now you got to move on, right? Very emotional win, very huge win, very necessary win, right? LSU is now ranked in the top 10. They are now in every single college football playoff conversation. The schedule doesn't get easier. They go to Arkansas this weekend, which everybody knows how funky the Arkansas games always are, especially in Arkansas. LSU opens up, at least they opened up yesterday as a 2.5-point favorite at Arkansas. Obviously, the line's not very high. I think Vegas understands.
Is this game in Fayetteville?
Yeah. Oh, wait. I don't know which one it is.
It is? Okay.
No, he doesn't know. Hold
It's
on.
an away game. I just don't know if it's funky always.
Yeah, no, I just don't know if it's at War Memorial or if it's actually in Fayetteville on campus.
Are you looking it up, Lloyd?
Yeah, I am.
I was going to look it up, too.
It's in Fayetteville.
Okay.
Which one's worse?
I don't know. I've only gone to War Memorial. That's why I don't know that. I've never gotten a chance to play in that stadium. Both times we went there, we went to War Memorial and played them there. So and that place was tough to play in as well. So I don't know what it's like playing on campus in that stadium. I play there.
Yeah, it's a night game. Love that it's a night game.
me
I think that helps, right? It's a 6 o'clock start. Always the weather's going to be a little crispy, which is going to be nice. It's not and crispy as in like not hot crispy,
Pigskin.
not hot crispy. A little dry air, a little nip,
Couchon
little nip in the air, which is going to be good, right? 2.5-point favors. Over under starts as at 54.5. Actually, I think it's a 3-point favorite now. It went up to 0.5 point.
I'm gonna have to go ahead and snag
It is a trap game of all trap games, right? Arkansas is not a bad team. They're 4-2. They've been in every single game they've played in. They are dangerous. Their quarterback's dangerous.
Mobile electric quarterback.
Right, albeit young, mobile and electric, has the ability to do some crazy things and extend plays. So it's going to be a challenging game. I think that's kind of why you see the line the way it is this is Vegas and this is everybody saying, all right, y'all had a big one. Now prove to me that y'all can do it again, right? Go prove to me that you can get back right and go on the road and have that same type of performance again because this is a draining game. The one on Saturday was emotionally draining, physically draining, and then you win the game and so you're on this euphoric high. Can you come back down to neutral and do it over again, right? You can't stay up there and you utilize that. I'm interested to see this game. I think, and then you got Texas A&M back-to-back road games. I believe Texas A&M games obviously going to be a challenge. They're ranked in the top 15. This game honestly makes me a little bit more nervous than that one because I think the A&M LSU game, that hype and that with the team that they see and the rankings, all that kind of stuff. This one's Arkansas, and it's like everybody's kind of overlooked them throughout the course of the year, but they've been a lot more competitive than people thought.
It's not even. I'm not so sure. I'm sold on the overlooking part. But what I do think this kind of happens. Like you said, there's the A&M game that's looming in between this thing, and then you just played the game you played in, right? Can you get back in the lab and take that Tuesday, Wednesday, maybe even all the way up to Thursday, but for sure, those install days of practice, can you, like you said, come back down to neutral, take these days serious, get the work that you need out of them to put yourself in a position to be ready to go when it comes this weekend coming? That's the thing that is so hard when you play the game you just play. Why? One, you're on such a high, just you yourself, where you took yourself, the endorphins you felt, everything that you were able to go through, it's crazy. It's such a good feeling. But then you also have not only your family, everybody you come across patting you on the back, everybody telling you how good you are. Can you block that noise out? Can you let that stuff go? Can you legit, truly, not just what they tell you to do, not just the old, at this point now it's a saying, the 24-hour rule. Are you actually going to live by drop this past game, forget about all that greatness that it just was, because it was, and go back to the work? And the work needs to start, like I said, Tuesday, Wednesday. When you get back to these things, can you do that? Because if you let those days go and you don't take them the way you've been taking them before, you may miss that opportunity to do what you need to do this weekend coming against Arkansas.
No doubt. And it's going to be a completely different type of team that you're going to have to prepare for, right? You got a quarterback who's athletic and has the ability to make some big plays.
Well, real quick,
okay.
With that said, I just was doing a quick little Arkansas search, as I do, as Stat Boy. Bone bruise for the quarterback as he rested. Obviously, he had a bye week, but he has a bone bruise. And if you're an LSU
We've
fan,
heard that.
very familiar with a bone bruise.
We've heard that.
And they are saying that, so I'm quoting Sam Pittman here, they took the bye week off, and he said, Green practice each day, which I've heard before. 6'6", 231 junior will try to start against LSU, but not so fast, Pittman cautioned. We're hopeful that he'll be ready to go. He said, so I feel like he will, but we'll have to wait and see a little bit more. I'll probably know a little bit more about Tuesday or Wednesday. We're hoping that he's ready to play, and we'll think he'll be able to. But even if he's limited, that changes the way that you kind of feel the outlook.
No doubt.
That is their engine.
Well, and this is the point of why he's the engine, right? He's not completing passes at an outrageous high clip. It's 56.6%. All right, he's got 1,500 yards passing, which isn't terrible. He's got 5 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. So they're obviously not slinging it all over the field, scoring a whole bunch of points passing the football. But
he keeps it moving.
Moves it around with his legs. He has 326 yards rushing, 4 touchdowns, and they're starting running back, right? Jaquindon Jackson's got 566 yards rushing and 10 touchdowns. So they're going to try to run it down your throat. They're going to try to establish dominance, stay ahead of the chains, and keep him on plan and on track to do what they need to do and not allow him to rely on him to win the game. And I think that's how you win. I think that's the game plan. We're not going to let you run it. We're not going to let you get going that way or try not to let you go get that way. Freshman, show me that you can do it type of thing.
I think LSU has done a phenomenal job defensively of getting you behind the sticks.
Yep.
That's what their calling card has been. You saw it against Ole Miss. They were able to convert a lot of third downs, but that's what that offense is. It's explosive, and it's hard to – you had to just kind of wrangle that thing in, and to hold them to under 30 points was a massive win for LSU. And for Arkansas's sake, like if you play with that same amount of energy, I know it won't be the same considering you're in Fayetteville as opposed to Baton Rouge. But if you can give that same – it's a different offense, and if you can keep them consistently in – second and third and long, I think that's where LSU will make their hay.
100%.
Yeah, I here's the thing too. Show me a defense that can't stop the run, and I'll show you a bad defense, right? Like I think that literally travels across college football, pro football, pretty much anywhere you go. Like that's a calling card for a bad defense. Because if I can't ever get in third and third and just being able to pin my ears back, if I can't get you in second and being able to pin my ears back pretty much ever, and I'm always having to guard against, hey, is he going to stick it in the stomach or is he not? We can never be a really good defense. So I do think their ability to kind of stifle the run a little bit this weekend is going to be huge because I don't think this guy will drop back and pass it. I don't think if he's not 100% healthy that he's going to run all over the place. But if you keep getting them at third and second and 5 and they're kind of able to kind of do whatever they want and do those things, it's going to be a tough game because I do think if he plays, he's going to have enough of that to at least be able to get him a first down and get down. Avoid some hits, extend some plays, maybe make the throws when he needs to, but I do think he's going to be able to do that if he's going to play. So their ability to stop the run this week, I think, it's going to be huge. It's going to be paramount.
No doubt. And we're going to get more into that conversation about the preview of the LSU-Arkansas game for this weekend. I just want to mention that because you're coming off this unbelievable win, and that team is no slouch. I mean, they're 4-2, right? If you go ask Arkansas fans, they should probably be 5-1. They probably feel that they should have an extra win. They did not, but they just beat Tennessee, right? coming off the big win before the bye week. They beat Tennessee bye
South
week.
Carolina. Are you talking about Arkansas?
I'm talking about Arkansas.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so they beat Tennessee.
Yeah, you
looking
looking ahead already, Lloyd. Relax. Calm down.
Hey, one day at a time.
And so now they come and they got LSU at home, off a bye week, feeling good about themselves. Had a week to kind of, come back down to earth. It's going to be a good game. I would take the -3 though if before there gets to the announcement that if he doesn't play, because if he doesn't play, I'd imagine that number shoots up.
I think that's what, and somebody in the chat, I
Yeah.
believe it was Kimberly was saying that's why it's already kind of moved a little bit from 2.5 to 3 is because of the announcement. Like, obviously, Sam Pittman had to talk today to the media, and that was something that he highlighted because you can't avoid it. And we'll see how big of a deal a bone bruise is come Saturday.
How do we, speaking of bets, I'm going to throw that one in right now.
Yeah, I did it too. I did money line.
You did mine, of course you did.
-140, not going to kill you.
I'm taking the points.
You're taking the points, you're taking Arkansas?
No, I'm taking LSU.
Watch all, like,
How do we do? How do we do this weekend on the bets? Y'all, like, as individuals, because our parlay did not hit.
It did not hit.
But that's okay. We're still ahead.
Vegas is so lucky that there's no service in Tiger Stadium. LSU was +6.5, and the over/under was like 40.
We did nail the under, though, didn't we?
Yeah, but
We
the
did
over
nail
hit
the
the
under.
second half. I was going to go LSU +6.5. I was going to do money line, to be honest, but LSU and then the over. But I had it for 1 second. It blinked up on the screen for 1 second. I went down 2 flights of stairs to try to get service. Couldn't find it. Get back in my seat. It pops up.
That's degenerate status, bro.
Oh, yeah, but it's money time. Like, there was a chance for me to make some money because I felt good about LSU was playing.
Doesn't the SEC as a whole right now feel like older SEC where it was like every game in the SEC you felt like somebody, like there wasn't.
Parity is back.
Yeah, parity is very much back, right? Like for a while it was Alabama was going to win every game.
Georgia.
Maybe one or two teams could compete with Alabama, but it wasn't a for sure thing. Then it was Georgia. Now every game that you're playing right now feels like
Toss up.
the other team can win, right? If you don't do the things that you need to do to win, the other team can win. It hadn't always been that way. It used to be that way. Then it got to the point where it's not that way, and now it's very much that way. And it makes it a lot more fun. It makes those energy, the stadiums are going to have a lot more energy because now there's not any SEC blowouts by halftime, right? There's not many of them. Say any. There's not as many. So I'm looking forward to the rest of the back
Vandy.
half. Yes. Vandy just put it on Kentucky.
I tried to tell you a couple weeks ago. I said, hey, they 4-2 right now.
No doubt. And they're beating SEC teams. Usually when they're 4-2, it's 0 and whatever in the SEC and 4 wins against, FCS teams. Right? It's not the case.
Yeah.
They have 2 SEC wins, 2 big SEC wins, one against the big bad Alabama, who almost lost again to South Carolina. Right? Alabama's got some things they gotta tighten up over there. They've come back down to earth.
Kalen.
They've come back down to earth. The playing field has been leveled. They have come back down. The playing field, the talent around them has risen up. It's they're in a precarious position, a position they're not used to being in.
And you can see that there's not the mainstay of Nick Saban because they're making mistakes that you see other SEC team makes that Alabama never did. Like, you don't get an onside kick back against Alabama. You don't get a Hail Mary converted against Alabama. It's starting to feel like, and I was telling you before the show, like one of my buddies that is the only Alabama fan I know texted me at halftime. He goes, it just doesn't feel the same. I was like, yeah, welcome to the fucking party, pal. This is what the SEC has to do when you weren't here. Like, Alabama was sitting up here with nobody else, and now that you've come back down to earth because somebody's gone, and that guy made a difference, and now you're in the mud with everybody else, and I said, time to start slinging it because it's an absolute rock fight every time you play an SEC game now. If you're going to get taken to the woodshed or get almost surprised by South Carolina and lose to Vanderbilt, yeah, you're in the fucking mud with us now.
No doubt.
I
love that, right? Because it's like they've gone so long without
having to worry about it. They wouldn't even watch that game.
And having to play sloppy, right? Usually if they play sloppy, it was they played sloppy for a
And
first
won by
half
30.
against a bad team, and they won by 30, right?
Tell you what, we should have really believed in what we thought, though. We sat here and talked about that 13.5, or I think it even got up to 14 at one point. That line
We knew
of Kentucky being favored against Vandy, we were like, nah, this don't sound right, and we should have hammered that thing.
And we knew it. We knew it. We talked ourselves out of it.
We had a lot of winners out there that we didn't pick.
Mm-hmm.
Army?
I took them.
I know, to for the parlay.
Oh, yeah. I just, felt good.
How did
Speaking
you
of,
do? It sounds like you did good. No, that
I didn't do bad. I didn't do bad.
Okay,
I didn't do. It wasn't like I did bad. I didn't make any money. I didn't really lose any money. But I didn't
all
make
those
any
minus
money.
20s didn't help.
I think I went. Did I go 50-50. I think I went 500 on those.
Just a little juice.
I won 500 on those. But even if it wouldn't have
I had
mattered.
BYU. I should have put that in the parlay.
I had BYU
just
too,
belt
but
to
took
ass.
that one.
Army. Navy plays this week.
Yep.
Maybe.
Back on that.
Iowa
back on that
State.
one.
They're in the top 10. And this is the thing that I don't think people are realizing, and it's going to start to happen. This college football thing is like, this playoff's going to be fucking chaos.
Awesome.
Like, well, I don't know if it's going to be good or bad,
No, it's gonna be awesome.
but it's going to be a thing. Like, people aren't realizing that Iowa State has to, like, one of these teams in the non-power four is going to have to be in it. And it's going to be, it might be Army, it might be Navy, it might be Iowa State, it might be Boise
Iowa
State.
State's in the Big 12.
Oh, they are in the Big 12. But that would be they're going to host a playoff game if they win the Big 12.
Right.
Like, LSU could go there.
Right. Which is great. That's part of it.
Or they could come here.
Right. That's part of it.
True.
Clemson's making their run. Right. The Clemson-Miami game is going to be huge.
Goal.
Right.
And they'll play
Like,
twice.
Clemson is going to do their thing. Clemson covered the 3-touchdown spread. Right. For a minute there, I didn't think they were going to, and then they ran away with it.
Georgia almost got beat.
Georgia, Mississippi State played well. We talk about Arkansas.
Mississippi State stinks.
We talk about Arkansas. Arkansas only beat UAB by 10 points. Third week of the season. UAB just got beat by 30 points, 40 points to Army. You know what I mean? Like,
None of this makes any sense. I can't believe we've actually hit a parlay 4 times.
4 times. We're gonna get back.
That's kind of funny that you said that. I don't disagree with
Nobody
that.
knows what's going on. We're like, oh, we got 3 winners. We can pick 12 of them.
Yeah. Four times we've hit our 3-leg parlay. What? Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know how, but we can get back on it next week.
This week.
I mean, this week. We're going to get back on it this week. You got football every day. Every day this week. And probably in for next week and the week after that and the week after that. A lot of days in a row where you're going to have football on the tube. A lot of games. What's the schedule? Oh, Georgia, Texas. Big game.
Ooh.
Georgia go. Texas
This
the last.
is in Austin too, right?
Yep. Texas the last undefeated team in the SEC. Georgia going over there to kind of rebound after the loss.
They got nervous against Oklahoma.
I'm gonna tell you what. If Georgia wins this game, man, just go ahead and open the madness up now because they won't know what on earth to do when they start trying to rank these teams and they start trying to picture how this 5 through 12 is gonna go. It's gonna be madness.
Here's the deal.
Madness.
And that's what I want. All right, here's the deal. Watch. I'm going to get to do they have the top 25 rankings?
I think the AP comes out on Tuesday.
Let's see.
But, I mean, obviously they do because
All right.
LSU is ranked 8.
So Texas is still 1. Oregon is 2. Penn
Oh.
State is 3. Ohio State dropped down to 4. Georgia 5. Miami 6. Alabama 7. LSU 8. Iowa State 9. Clemson 10. Right? I'm going through these things. So Oregon has to. Do they play Ohio? Do they play Penn State?
Yes,
They do not
they will in the
in the championship game.
yes.
Penn State's got Ohio State, right? So that's obviously a big one. Who's Oregon's big matchups against?
Oregon had
Penn
their-
State almost lost, right? We took the plus
Yeah.
5 for USC. Penn State should have lost.
overtime.
USC blew it again. USC has 3 losses this year. All 3 losses they had the lead in the fourth quarter.
They're all by single digits.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like you could add them up. But
They're not-
for
they're not finishing
Oregon's
out
schedule,
games.
they made it through obviously their toughest test at Ohio State,
Yep.
where Will Howard just ran out of time. But they go,
Oregon's got the most favorable schedule of any of the
yeah,
big
they should go
teams,
undefeated.
right?
But
They got to play Illinois. Michigan obviously is not the team that they thought they were going to be.
Wisconsin's a wagon.
Wisconsin is obviously playing better, but there's a lot of games. There's a lot of games on there that like don't look like they should win. That potentially, I mean, they almost lost to Boise. You know what I mean? Like they could, they beat Idaho 24-14 first game of the season, which is kind of wild.
I would circle that Maryland game. Maryland's a little feisty.
right? I think Illinois is a little feisty. Michigan, they're going to play good defense. Can they make them play a sloppy game? It's at the Big House.
Never been there for Oregon.
Right. Indiana, do they play? They don't even play Indiana. So
You got to remember, too, I don't even know exactly where some of these late games are, but once you get in October, November, the weather starts changing, and some of these teams, if they're West Coast, may have to travel to the Midwest.
right.
Nah, what they want right now.
You don't want to go to Michigan in November 2nd?
Hell no.
You have an opportunity to have Oregon with 1 loss, Penn State with 1 loss, and Ohio State with 1 loss. And Indiana has, where are they at? Indiana's ranked 16th undefeated. Right? So
Sneaky. Hey, sneaky.
Very sneaky.
They score.
And so you have
Zigs up.
but they don't. But Oregon doesn't play Indiana or Penn State. So it's gonna be wild to see what happens in the Big Ten.
Indiana, Ohio State, November 23rd.
Right? You know what I mean? Like, gonna be great.
Like, does Indiana knock Ohio State out?
Maybe. You know,
Get
wild.
Ryan Day fired.
Wild. Right? I mean, then you got Georgia going to Texas. Let's say Texas lost. That means every SEC team's going to have 1 loss. And that's not to say that the SEC's not good. That's just to say everybody else got better in the SEC. And it's a challenging conference. It's going to be wild. Miami loses maybe to Clemson. Everybody has 1 loss, 2 loss. Like, I would like for this to happen where there's not one undefeated team. How great would that be?
Well, that's where you start to worry about. That's why LSU. That's why I feel like this game was so important for LSU Ole Miss. Survive in advance. Like, keep playing, because when we've said this throughout the year after the UCLA game, it's like LSU will be in every game. They're
Right.
not head and shoulders above any team, but they're not worse than any team. And when you keep looking at the schedule, LSU has to just keep surviving. I don't know how good they are, but I know they're not bad.
And they're getting better.
And they're getting better,
And they're getting
and
better.
they have.
Man.
Go ahead.
I think I think that was kind of where I was last week when I talked about if they were not able to win this game, it'd be no shot that they could run the table. And I think it's a lot because, like you said, like you get down to third and fourth quarters and these timeouts, these 30 seconds, these minute timeouts, and you just start seeing teams either believe and or not believe. Well, teams that you're playing against start not to believe when they see that the team that just been beating everybody in these situations is on the other sideline. But if you've been the team that's been beaten in that situation, that team that you're playing now believes that you can get got. So I think this game was going to go, when it comes to like this season, them winning that game, like it becomes huge because now you start to build momentum, and building momentum now as opposed to waiting until you get into November to build momentum.
Right.
It almost becomes a sense of, like, not false confidence, but false confidence, where you're like, we've been in this spot before. And like you said, you look over and see LSU, like, you don't panic. They don't waver in the third and fourth quarter. That's when they get better. And if you look at Georgia's schedule, they've never had to play a schedule like this. Certainly not since the whenever in the SEC East you could kind of skate. Now you have Texas, then you have Florida at home, then you have to go at Ole Miss, then Tennessee comes to town, and then it ends up with Massachusetts and Georgia Tech. But you still have 3 ranked games on your schedule with number 1 at Texas.
Yeah.
First one up.
Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
Ole Miss's schedule doesn't get any easier either. They got to go play Tennessee next week or this week, right?
And that's why LSU has to, and like we said, like it's the SEC, and all of these games are starting to look wonky.
Alabama plays. No.
All of these games are starting to look wonky as hell.
Alabama plays Tennessee this week.
Yeah, that's right. Alabama plays Tennessee.
And Georgia has.
They're at Texas.
At Texas, yeah. And Tennessee is at Alabama?
Yeah, I thought Ole Miss had another tough game this week, but they do not.
But
they play Oklahoma.
But to your point, like all of these games are tough.
Right. Georgia's got to play Ole Miss.
And you start looking at LSU's schedule and you go, kind of worked out. Like
tough, though.
Tough, but you didn't get Georgia, you didn't get Texas.
Right. You got Oklahoma, they're struggling a little bit right now. Right.
But
A&M's playing some good football. I think Arkansas is better than you thought they were going to be.
Yep.
South Carolina better than you thought they were going to be. Ole Miss is who you thought, right? It was the game that you thought it was going to be. Alabama obviously is still Alabama. Yeah, but you have, Vanderbilt's going to be tougher than we think too. Like funky offense, they've been doing it against everybody.
I think Oklahoma's going to be tougher at that point of the season
Me
than
too.
they are right now.
Yeah.
They're 5 receivers out. They're going to get healthier. and they're going to be looking to make a statement to go into the offseason with. So, like, they're going to be a very tough squad to play at the back end of the year. Like, it's like I said, you lose this one, you just can't tell me like you're not going to – that somewhere else it was going to happen. Like, it just was, because there's just too much competition going forward. You needed to get this one. You needed it.
Right, and as big as a win it is, like, I know that you don't have any of the ranked teams, which I was kind of saying, like, you don't face the Georgia, you don't face the Tennessee, but any of these teams can sneak up and bite you because their parity is back in the SEC, so there's really no break in LSU's schedule just because of how much these teams have kind of evened the playing field, and Sam Pittman's 4-2. I thought he was going to be fired by now. Oh, Sunbelt Billy should have beaten Tennessee.
Yeah.
He took his foot off the gas.
Yeah.
They should have.
Yeah.
Like, go for it.
Right? You got to play out Florida, right? Let's not overlook that one. You know what I mean? Like, SEC, look, NFL every week, what makes the NFL so good every week is no matter how bad you are or how good you are, you have a chance to win or lose that game.
You're starting to see it in the spread. See, everything's -3.
You're starting to see it in the SEC now, too, where it's like, hey, listen, what separates these teams, what separates these games, whether you lose by 3 points or win by 10 points, usually comes down to like 3 or 4 plays. And you're starting to see that happening now more and more in the SEC, and I think it's great to see. And these guys are coming up clutch with some big plays.
Yeah. Ole Miss kickers making a 57-yarder in overtime with the whole nation in your neck.
Man, I'm literally sitting there watching this thing when he lines up for this kick, and I'm counting it out, and I'm like, oh, that's 57. I'm like, he is down in the middle, but I'm like, man, ain't no shot he making this.
You don't make kicks in Tiger Stadium.
I'm talking split the baby on that thing.
He could have made that from 64.
Crushed it.
It was wild.
But that's where.
But then here's the deal: he makes that, and then like, at no point after he made that, I really felt.
Oh, field goal good.
No, I was like, we're gonna win the game.
Yeah, didn't matter if he made or missed it. I didn't want to kick a field goal.
And no, me either.
First play.
And honestly, they had a legit opportunity to intercept that ball.
Ping pong.
If you ask Gilbert, he tells you today, that ball should be picked off, because he saw it. And he felt like he probably could have intercepted. It was him and Whitweeks back there. Yeah. But
ball hawks.
You started the ball at the 25-yard line. You end up going backwards and kicking a 57-yarder to make it, and then first play, ball game. Love that. LSU's good at that in overtime. First play of the overtime, let's get in the end zone. Make it easy.
Get out of here.
Just make it easy.
That was once the lights went down, I was like, there's no flag.
Wild. Great throw. Great play call. Back.
Talk to me. Y'all were in the stadium. Talk to me. Like, what was the atmosphere like? Was there a certain point in the game where it got crazy? Was it crazy from start to finish? Was there something where you just like, oh my God, this is different? Like, what was it?
Listen, it was crazy from start to finish. You know, like
it was packed 35 minutes before kick.
Yeah, like we got in there and you felt the energy, right? You felt like, okay, this is going to be great. And then even with the offense not really getting on a roll, the defense coming up, Ole Miss coming down, the defense making some big stops and doing some things, obviously kept it in there. Then Ole Miss got up 10-0, and you were like, okay, people were starting to kind of feel like, damn, the offense hasn't done anything. And they go right down, score a touchdown. And then from that point forward, you never felt like the crowd went down again. And it kept getting higher and higher. And then whenever they realized that we got the ball back at the end of after we scored, and then we kicked off and they fumbled it, and they realized we got the ball back, and then we kicked the field goal again.
This is after the dropped Xavion touchdown, so you get 3 points, kick off. Ole Miss runs one play. They're trying to get a point. They're trying to get points, and then you end up recovering a fumble that it didn't feel like it was a fumble. Like It wasn't really looked at that much. And credit to, like, I'll say it again because the officiating was actually great.
It was.
Like, they let the boys play.
Oh, let me tell you, sneakiest, biggest point in the game, and I was 100% against the call, and I was also 100% I was shocked that they overturned it. But, bro, the Whitweeks targeting call that they overturned would have wrecked the game probably had they upheld it.
That was ball game. He gets knocked out the game, it's over.
That was shades of Devin White against Mississippi State. We're like, there's no way that you call this, but I can see by the letter of the law.
But that one, you had more of a reason to call that one. This one was the referees looked at it They called it. They looked at it. They understood everything that happened with it. They didn't change it because of the magnitude of the game. They changed it because we looked at it and said, okay, we make the right judgment call here. And it was. Nobody can disagree with that. If you're an Ole Miss fan, sure. Go show the replay, the still shot of his helmet to helmet, fine. This guy was in feet planted into the ground.
Ready to shoot his guns.
Literally just trying to grab and put this guy on the ground because he knew he was going to slide, or he knew that he had him. Then he slid, and as he was great call. But you're right, Jay, that would have wrecked the game.
I'm going to tell you right now, if there's a world where there's no forcible blow forward and I got 2 feet on the ground and I'm getting called for targeting, then we're not playing football anymore. At that point, we might as well just go ahead and strap the flags on them and go ahead and pull the flags on. I just don't.
No doubt.
That just doesn't make any sense. And I get it. The rule of it is a helmet to helmet or a head blow, whatever the actual language is. I don't really know. All I know is that anybody that plays football knows that if you don't, like if you're in that situation and you don't do that, the next time you don't do it, and the next time somebody slides, that ends up being your ACL.
Right. Because
you stand there and you just get got instead of actually being forcible and doing something about it. So you can never, if that's not allowed, you can't play football at that point.
Right.
But like I said, I've seen it called before where you could go by letter of the law. This is what it is. Too bad, so sad. But for them to take into account, and he tried to explain it over the PA. I think he was going to say something for that would seem like a very long, unabridged sentence, but his microphone went out and the entire stadium went nuts. Like, what are you saying? And then we were all just watching 40 to see if he leaves the field or not. Tighten that thing back up. Let's go back out there, second down.
No doubt.
But the other one that I think would have, where LSU kind of got away with, the gods were in your favor, was Kyren Lacy. It felt like that was going to be an injury when he came down with the knee and he laid on the field. You're like, if you lose him, you probably don't win the football game. That's that's like the Occam's razor that you were standing on the entire game. Like one person goes out.
That's kind of like when LSU made it to the SEC championship game, and Jaden's playing with that bum ankle, and you're like, the one person we can't lose,
and he gets picked up like a baby,
is Jaden Daniels. Obviously, he goes out, and the game just kind of gets out of hand. It's like you don't have enough guys in those positions right now, especially in the receiver position, to kind of rebound from that, or the linebacker position.
No, Coach.
And you're
that's
right.
The impact player.
No doubt.
That's the impact player. You're forgetting about it. I'm just, you got to think about stuff like this. The reason why that injury would be huge is literally think about the overtime play, right?
Yeah.
How many times do you think they're practicing during the week where somebody else is the scat, knows that he's the motion guy, and is used to running that route? Who else do you think's running that route during the week?
Nobody.
So nobody's listening to that call in the huddle. Nobody's used to having to do that. And then all of a sudden, if that guy gets hurt, that play's no longer in the playbook.
Right.
So that's why it becomes a thing. And not that you don't have enough guys to move around. No, you can do that. You just no longer have these plays, these gotta-have-it plays, the plays that you script all week for that hey, the guy getting this one. It just is what it is.
And
that's the play you run.
The beauty of that play too is they saw the matchup, right? Like they saw.
No, it's the same call they did. It's the same USC play.
Yeah,
it's the same type of play they ran there.
They saw who they wanted. They saw who they wanted Kyren to be up against. They saw how to get him there, got him there, right? And it was the perfect play call. It was the right move. And it was they got exactly what they wanted. And Nuss made the throw he needed to make, and Kyren knew exactly what he was doing.
Oh, they were saying in the timeout, you saw LSU release the footage of them talking about what the play was. Kyren's get me on an island, get me alone, get me in a one-on-one again, get me in a one-on-one again. They're like, all right, ball going to 2, and you saw what happened.
Same play for first touchdown of the season when they ran it against USC. They motioned him over, and they didn't get him on the safety, but they got him on the weaker corner in this situation. One-on-one, back shoulder. You got nothing to do. Ball game. Let's go home.
And he kept it in the holster.
He did. I thought he was about to throw that into the stands.
I kind of wish he did.
And look, it would have been fine.
Yeah, I think he was thinking about I don't want anything bad to happen.
All-time
pivot to
great
now
move.
I look cool as hell.
Great move by him. But it wouldn't have mattered because you don't have to kick the extra point. You won.
But he thought about it. It's working.
But he thought about it.
He's working on his mental health. That's what Brian Kelly said after the USC game. Look, he's trying.
Yeah. Well.
And then he brought the blicky out and the papa in the locker room. Shot that thing a million times.
This time. That's what you're telling me.
He kept it in the holster to the whistle blew. Then they had everybody on the field, and he started shooting the whole crowd. It's a mass murder.
That's too crazy. It's too crazy.
What a wild game.
It was wild, man.
But dude,
Light show elite.
Light show was elite.
I would say that it's like one of the first.
Can't do it every game.
No, and they saved it. They put it in their back
Is
pocket.
that the first time they did the full light show?
Oh,
Is that
yeah.
The first time
Like, they
did,
kept
the
that thing in
full
the
light
back
show?
pocket.
The reason why it was so cool, like they can obviously do the light show with the new lights they installed. Like that, they can do that every game because that's
Yeah.
But
Pressure.
But what this did was that everybody got these bands. So they had like 90-something thousand bands.
Yeah.
So everybody had lights on their wrist. So whenever they would do the light show, it was synced up to that. So it was like it made it look different, way different and way cooler. So like that was that's where the money went into.
I forgot about that. Yeah,
I think
I
they
forgot
spent
about
like
that.
$110,000 to do that.
Funny that it was Our Lady of the Lake that sponsored that after the news that came out Friday. Great PR, real quick.
I didn't see the news.
Greg Brooks is suing LSU.
Oh yeah, I did see that actually.
Then Our Lady of the Lake sponsors the wristband. Greg Brooks is suing Our Lady of the Lake and LSU, and then Our Lady of the Lake was the ones that sponsored the title sponsor for the wristband. So it's just quite the juxtaposition of what was going on with LSU and where that whole thing is. Obviously, pray for Greg Brooks' health, but it's just funny how money works.
Yeah.
Well, we sponsored it.
I mean, listen to me. That was a lot. I mean, that happened.
Yeah, eons ago.
This was something that they had, obviously planned for a long time ago. It didn't just say, hey, on Monday, let's see if we can get a sponsor for this light show that we think would be a good
we
idea.
can't scrap.
You don't think it came together that quick? No.
I don't think that's how that works. But it was really cool.
No.
I would love to see them.
Also, the last time it'll happen because everybody threw them at everybody.
Yeah, I would love to see them try to do something like that for Alabama. Obviously,
that was the coolest.
that was. Like because it's a new experience.
Yeah, that's because I'm of the ilk of like old Tiger Stadium. You didn't have to change it. Like it's loud. The fans make the experience what it is, and you didn't need anything. There could be no lights in there, and people would still watch and yell their ass off because it's all whiskey and bourbon fueled energy and just pure vitriol for the opponent, and you want to see LSU win. With this experience, it felt like it was something different where I was kind of taken aback. I was like, oh shit, this is like wild. And it was fun. Like, it definitely added to the game day experience, but something I'm going to have to get used to.
Jared.
And every time
let me ask you this. So, wait, you don't think you needed to change it all?
Oh, I'm an old school LSU guy, though. Like, I don't think you need a pom-pom. You don't need a cowbell. But I think with Tiger Stadium special, it doesn't matter what you do in there because the people.
So, but let me ask you this. What makes it special? Like, how does it get to that special level?
I think people recognize the atmosphere and what a big game is. Like, you knew it on Tuesday going into Saturday.
How do you get big games?
By winning?
Yeah.
How do you win?
By bringing players?
How do you get good players there?
By having a great environment.
Yeah, by having a cool environment for 18-year-olds. I get it, and I like it.
So it needed to change.
Yeah.
So it needed to change.
You ain't recruiting 28-year-olds and 33-year-olds. I know.
It needed to change. You're not recruiting 28-year-olds. When I got a 19-year-old in here and he's going around every other school in this conference and they all got light shows and you don't, you start losing sooner or later because you stop getting them dudes. You've got to do it.
And then you play Set It Off, and the light show is synchronized to Set It Off, and it's like,
oh
wow,
the whole crowd knew everywhere.
Wow,
and, they had
like
nipples on the titty.
I think I saw that flooded. That flooded my social media.
Listen to me, dude. I'm not joking. That right there was probably top 3.
Yeah.
Things that I've ever seen in Tiger Stadium. Like.
And Lane Kiffin knew
Everybody
it and drew
did
up
it.
a fucking dime right after.
Yep, and it was 3rd and 15. 3rd and 15, and Lane Kiffin threw it. Had probably the best play call of the day for him. Best executed play of the day. Got the first down, and then after it happened, I looked back and said, "Not after Set It Off." Like,
So I felt
like, damn, dude.
Dude, he drew up one after calling Baton Rouge. I'm not the biggest fan, but the place was on.
Oh no, that was another good one.
Yeah,
They did it
Lane
again.
Kiffin fucking stabbed you again.
Yeah.
After, and then Swag Surfer, he did it again. Like, everything that LSU did to be cool, he just fucking gut punched you.
But dude, it was wild.
It was an
Wild.
elite experience.
Yeah.
Do y'all have a curtain call because this is part of the elite experience? I don't know if you saw
That was gonna. What you're talking about the whole thing?
No, there's one particular person there. Played for LSU. Now he throws baseballs for.
Paul Skeens.
Yeah.
I saw Jay.
Yeah.
Jay came in our suite, in the suite that I was in. We're talking to him, and so Jay.
He was on the field. I saw he had great seats.
So apparently
Man of the
Jay,
people.
Paul went up to Jay, and was like, "Hey, which ones do we need?
Blackout drunk.
Where are the recruits?" and he said, Jay said,
Who we need, coach?
Jay said Paul talked to him for like 45 minutes. It was awesome.
I mean, did you see this man? Look how awesome he looks, and he's been to Tiger Stadium twice, and he is as fucked up as anybody could possibly be in this stadium, and I love it because he is like absolutely torched, having the time of his life.
Cloud nine right there.
Like they showed this, and I think the next 9 plays were all positive for LSU, and it went into overtime, and LSU scored a touchdown. Shea Dixon put out a tweet.
That's too damn funny, dog.
But he is torched. I love him so much. Like, it takes a lot for that big man to get drunk, and he was all of it.
Yeah, he had a good time.
Yeah.
He knows he's not going to be here for long. He's not going to be here all offseason, so he's making the most out of the time he's got. Got to see a lot of the boys at the tailgate. They're all at Moffitt's tailgate. Tommy White looks good. He's leaned up a lot. He looks good. Jay, he was talking about how difficult the minor league season is. He was like, man, you don't have any time.
Really?
Yeah, he was like, you don't have any time to breathe. He's like, you're trying to work on something, you got to work on it in the game. That you got to be okay going over 4.
You got to work on it against 97 with Saint.
Yeah.
Like, you don't get to work on shit.
You don't get Monday and Tuesday off and have a Wednesday midweek game against Southern to go and try to figure it out.
You don't get, like you said, you don't get Monday, Tuesday off, and then Wednesday, 88, flat as hell with no ride. And then back to working on Wednesday, Thursday, and then get to face the 96. No, it's every day.
Every
dog.
day.
And if you thought you felt it, he might just dominate you that day too. So, wait, do I have it or do I not? I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Hey, you don't get that.
No, but he he's like, look, I'm gonna be back and forth a lot. He's like, I need to be in Florida with my hitting guy. I gotta get my stuff right. But he said in the future I'm gonna be here. This will be my off-season home. So. Pretty cool to see that LSU has that effect still on some of the guys. But, man, all around, like, the atmosphere, the weather, everything, it was an unbelievable weekend. And I hope we can, look up in 3 weeks and we're 7-1 going into the Alabama game. And, it's a whole nother one like that, another top 5, top 10 matchup potentially. All right. Mike, so my curtain call, I think, is, I'm going to ask you to put some of that stuff on there. But let's get to the Seggies, Lloyd.
I'm trying to
Unless there's anything else you want to talk about from the weekend. Saints stink.
Did we talk enough about what week?
Listen, we got all week to go back. We talked straight hour and a half of straight LSU football.
18 tackles, 10 solo.
10 solo. And, defending passes all over the field. Listen to me. I think the most impressive thing that, our team did for the most part is whenever they had a chance to make a tackle, they made the tackle. You know what I mean? They had some missed tackles, but, all the memorable ones that you felt like, damn, this could go either way, it felt like they were always making the tackle. Obviously, they didn't make every single one of them, but I think that was a huge difference. When the guys caught the football or ran the football.
I feel like they did that in the second half. There was a couple times in the first half. Obviously, the 50-yard touchdown had to tackle in the hole, didn't tackle.
Yeah, right.
So that one got away. But the second half, kid did buckle down. It was a lot better play ball game in the second half.
Yep.
I'll say that. Yeah.
For sure. It's nice to see the defensive line actually get after the quarterback and get sacks again. They're becoming pretty dominant, but we have obviously all week to kind of go and rehash that and talk about what we want to see moving forward. We're going to get more conversation about the Ole Miss, the Arkansas game, but we got a lot of time to talk about that. So let's get to the Seggies.
Let's get to it's on TikTok. I don't even know how to get to TikTok, but there's a fucking awesome video of Paul Skeens during the game, and he is just out of his mind. But Mistake of the Day brought to you by
our friends at Dozy Place.
It's time to make a visit.
Don't get mad at me if I went today.
Did you?
But
least,
it wasn't.
Hand up. That's good accountability. At least you're not lying.
It wasn't by myself though.
That might be worse.
It just happened to be a business meeting.
But it was your idea though. It was your idea.
I bet it was.
No, it wasn't. It was not my idea. It was not my idea. It was a request.
Somebody was like, Doze, and you're like, Oh,
I
know
was-
what they have great there? It's a burger.
I was supposed to go get. Oh, I didn't even get a burger. If that makes you feel any better.
Makes me feel worse.
We needed to go grab lunch. We hadn't decided on where we were gonna go.
What'd you get?
And he was like, I got a grilled chicken. I'm gonna put it into a po' boy though.
Oh, nice. A little treat.
It was great. It was great. Tamales, obviously.
Okay.
Barbecue
All right.
shrimp there,
Okay.
fire.
They don't do anything wrong.
Fire. So my father-in-law, he walked in. Got to see him there. It was nice.
Shocker.
Yeah.
He's everywhere.
Yeah. All right, yeah. Mistake of the day brought to you by our friends at Dozy Place.
Mistake of the day brought to you by lack of institutional control belongs to one UGA program. And who's at the head of the snake? One Kirby Smart during the game decided to go back to his vintage days of being a safety for Georgia, where the quarterback comes to the sidelines, fuck you, get out the way, and just pushes Mississippi State's quarterback for no reason.
You think that like
God damn.
you think that he was like paying attention? He was so blacked out that he didn't even know who was next to him. He was pushing whoever was gonna be next to him.
Right, but that's not an excuse. You have
No.
to-
I know.
Yeah, it didn't matter. It didn't matter who ran in front of him right there. You got to move.
I'm not saying it's an excuse. I'm just saying like
Well, that's what Georgia fans are saying. They said it's a crime of passion.
He went back to his playing days, dog. Y'all forgot, man. He was aggressive, man. Like, get out the way.
like forearm too. Get out there. Good extension.
Good, yeah. Hey, that's not targeting.
Yeah, good. That's offensive PI though. You know what I mean?
They said he
Once
was,
that arm gets extended, that's PI all day.
They said he was.
Well, he
going,
was a defensive player, so he don't know what that means anyway, cuz.
Right.
He don't care.
Good point.
They said he was going after the defensive coordinator and all. Like, it kind of blew up on social, of course. We're like, what the hell is going on at Georgia? Because they obviously had multiple arrests and everything is going awry with like the program is whatever the program is. It's a winner, but then every Georgia fan came to call the dogs. They're like, hey, what do you want him to do? It's a cry. It's passion. He wasn't trying to get to him. He was trying to get the defensive coordinator. It's like, bro, it doesn't matter. Like, what if y'all want to defend that? Like, how many times can we use crime of passion? Because it defines a lot of things that are still illegal.
No doubt. That's a good one. That's a good mistake of the day. There's a few more, I'm sure, that was around college football. The beauty of football season is you see a lot of mistakes from the happening in the stands or, from fans or doing whatever. But that's a good one. That's a good one. How about could be a curtain call, could be a mistake of the day when Nick Saban on College Game Day said we when he's talking about LSU.
Oh, I love that. I
Did
noticed
it again, Jay.
I love that. That was a good one.
And then he goes and says, he's like, shit, I got to pick Ole Miss now.
So he had to pick Ole Miss.
Yeah, he had to pick Ole Miss. Deep down, he wanted to get.
Pat called him out on it immediately whenever he made the pick. He's like, we did say we when you were talking about LSU, and he was like, almost a little red face, like, oops.
Yeah.
But we know where your heart lies, Nick.
We do.
You're welcome back anytime.
We do. We're the one that got away. You know what I mean? Or he's the one that got away, but the thing he feels is mutual.
You never forget your first.
Never forget it.
Yeah, make that move if you want. It's okay.
Yep. All right. Curtain call brought to you by our friends at Perkins and McKenzie. What you got?
I've got. Oh,
I mean, it might as well be a show one for whoever put it in there. I didn't even get a chance to experience it, so I'm not going to be the one to bring it. But that's what I was thinking because I could feel. But y'all obviously felt more, so you might as well just make it a show one.
That was what I was going to have as mine.
And I
but
think this perfectly sums it up. If we're going to do a show curtain call, it's whenever you had few people that from the national media landscape understand Tiger Stadium like Scott Van Pelt does. And he put the tweet out Saturday night. He's like, the thing about that place at night in games like this that it always feels like the whole thing is hanging on by a thread. Teetering on madness. The LSU score is mandated by some sort of voodoo from beyond. The rest is just whatever happens. And then he tweeted again where he goes, and after the Kyren Lacy session, he goes, and there's the rest.
Peter Burns had a great tweet before the game, too. I think like Thursday before the game, which is – yeah, it aged well. It aged nicely.
It did, and I saw Peter at the game. We frequented the same establishment after the game together.
Gold Club?
Which was.
I thought you said you were going home after the game.
I did not.
I know you were not. I know.
Damn it.
We had people in town.
That's right. I should have hopped on the bandwagon. I went to the party box, but by the time I got out the stadium, it was like 1:15 on.
Let me tell you what I did. We went to Fred's.
You did?
Yeah, we went to Fred's. We go through the
Said
back.
never again.
We see obviously the people we know. We're talking like Odell, Duke Riley, all those guys were all back there with us. Talking to Paul, Dylan, everyone. And then we go through, and then it's like, all right, it's about to be time to go. We made a pit stop. Pluckers.
No.
Went to Pluckers, dude.
How many?
How many wings?
Pluckers.
I just
Wow.
went, I just got the boneless wings, and we got some.
You got chicken tenders.
It's when you're drunk, dude. You don't want to mess with all the other stuff. You know what I mean? We got
I got no
cheese.
time for no bone.
We got the cheese sticks. I got boneless wings. It was a good time. My buddies that were with us decided that they were gonna walk. They left and they were gonna go walk to the house before the last 30 minutes. And so I was like, y'all, first of all, don't go there. He's like, no, we're gonna go
To
I was
the bar of the house.
And so I was like, I'm going to Pluckers. The next thing I know, I got a video of them two bartending, and the owner had to come in and basically be like, hey, who the fuck are y'all?
these people?
He was like, oh, we're bartending. You can't do that. He's like, oh, no, everybody needs drinks. Everybody.
It was one of those, dude.
It was one of those days.
Oh, y'all turned the clock back then. That's what you got to tell me.
Yep. Yeah, we did. And then they had a flight at 7:30. I had to get up at 5:45 to bring him to the airport. That was not fun.
I bet you woke him up and scared the shit out of him. Like, oh.
Well, their wives were there too. They're already back. Their wives went home early. There was. Allie was grinding out with us.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I respected it.
She saw tenders on the other side.
Yeah. And so I woke up at 5:45 because I'm very responsible.
Adult.
They had to leave it. We're trying to leave at 6. None of nobody's up. And I'm like, shit. My buddy walks out of the room to go throw up. And he looks at it, he goes, why are you sitting on the couch? He's like, because I'm about to take you out to the airport. He goes,
Why are you
shit?
Why are you here?
So then he tells his wife.
Like, you're the weird one.
Then he tells his wife to pack up the bag.
Nice.
He's going to sit outside. He was sitting at the edge of my driveway just trying to get some fresh air. Dude, it was turn back the clock night.
Y'all turned it back. Hey, y'all turned it back.
Yeah, we did.
Oh, my God.
It was awesome.
I know where I stand on the list. I didn't get one single text.
Listen to me, dude.
You didn't think like Lloyd would be fun to be here.
Did you go to the party box after? You would have seen us.
I was right there.
We popped in there. We were there before we went down.
I would have seen you.
I swear to God.
How quickly did you leave the game?
Oh, I stayed for the whole time.
You know what I'm saying? Like after it all, I'll always sit around for like 15 minutes, soak it all in.
Yeah, it wasn't. I mean, we didn't leave.
We should have been on the same schedule.
Yeah, we didn't
I just
leave
missed
right
you.
away.
I just missed you. It's
Must have
okay.
just missed. We were kind of on the outskirts, but we were there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I was in it.
Yeah, but show curtain call.
I'm a dancer.
Show curtain call, obviously, to Scott Van Pelt. Can you put that video of the light show on there too? Because that was also part of the curtain call for me. Was obviously the atmosphere, obviously Tiger Stadium. This was a big part of it. There's no volume to that, huh?
I can't play Colin Baton Rouge.
Oh, that's right.
Girth will get
That's
me.
right. So this scene. No, don't get us in trouble.
It was a scene.
It was a scene.
And
it was a scene.
Shout out to the LSU, like whoever had to organize this. This is unbelievable because this is not something that they've been testing out the light show, but not to this extent. And to get this thing put together the way that they did, it went off without a hitch.
So obviously the light show like this, like with the bands, that's not gonna happen every home game.
That's not gonna happen ever again because it was assault, brother.
Right, but the lights that they do with the understanding how to change the lights and sync them up to music, like that can happen.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, like when they score
and
touchdowns.
I'm glad that they saved because everybody's like, oh, the LSU don't know how to do a light show. They kept this one in the pocket.
Yeah, good, perfect timing.
It was an unreal atmosphere.
Do you have the video of the cheerleader shoving the guy on the ground?
Oh, I gotta find that one if I do. It was after the Mason Taylor touchdown.
Hey, did y'all storm the field?
No.
No. Oh, that's another thing. We didn't even get to talk about that.
I'm not mad about it.
I mean, I'm not mad.
No, because it's not the opponent. It's the atmosphere.
Right, and I actually talked about that today. It's not about rushing the field because it's Ole Miss. It was rushing the field because it was a walk-off touchdown.
Yeah,
right?
The whole thing just became.
I understand
it was a madhouse.
I understand that. Rushing the field, winning against Ole Miss, that doesn't need to happen. I think it wouldn't have mattered who it was. I mean, unless it was like South Alabama and you had to win on last play, I think that wouldn't have happened. But like anytime you have a walk-off touchdown, I guess, yeah, the atmosphere.
Yeah, they earned it too. Like for as much flack as I got the video, as much flack as some of like LSU fans get for not staying the whole time, not being what LSU like is cracked up to be. Buddy, there's also one more thing I want to show because I got a text from one Stephen Miller that sent me a screenshot of and Ole Miss text message that he sent to his buddy, so I have to send it to myself real quick. Here's the cheerleader assault. We had a lot to get to. We got caught up in the conversation.
I know, we got caught up in the LSU
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. This is all worth it. But here's the cheerleader assault. Like, this man obviously played probably like 3A linebacker, maybe all state, maybe all district. But he's there for the football. He's not there for the women. Get out of here. Throw him out the club. Bang. 25, see you. And then I'm gonna send this to myself real quick.
You know how many times he's gotten sent that?
Oh yeah, he's in trouble. Like, I get it. Don't do it again.
I respect it though. I do respect it.
And
He was watching his knees, dog. You know,
yeah,
you gotta
trying to
his own
protect
knees.
his cheermate.
You're not about to take my ACL out.
No.
No, sir.
And then I'm gonna pull this up because this is for anybody that is against LSU and says it's not what it is, and they want to pretend like, oh, Tiger Stadium is whatever. There's an Ole Miss fan texting his buddy, and I'm going to zoom in on it, but it says, yeah, this game is crazy. Dude, like, what the fuck? I'm in shock. Never felt energy like this, not even close anywhere. That touchdown by LSU was fucking wild. Every single person here is losing their goddamn mind. Like, y'all say whatever you want, but whenever you think you're talking in private, we know what you're talking about.
Love that. Listen, you know, LSU rises up every single time in those types of games.
When
as
you
far
have
as
to
the
have
stadium
them.
goes. Yeah. Looking forward to seeing the rest of the home schedule. You know, let's get through these next two games. Obviously, big game this weekend. We'll talk more about that on Wednesday. Great show. Great curtain calls. Great mistake of the day. Great weekend. My voice, I'm very proud of myself for having a voice today. As a little bit of one. Thought it was going to be way worse than this.
Yeah, you saved yourself on
When
Sunday.
I came back from Vegas,
Oh, you were done.
I was done. I think that was more the drinking.
So you screamed more in Vegas than you did in Fred, basically. That's what
No.
you told me. Okay.
I drank more in Vegas than I drank last night. That was 3 straight days. Voice gone. But, yeah, what a wild weekend. Did really well yesterday. I didn't talk to anybody. I made everybody text me. I ignored phone calls and just texted.
Talk about a diva for talent. Like,
Oh,
can't
yeah.
use my voice.
Can't use it. Got to perform tomorrow.
Too many pluckers boneless to the throat.
That's great.
I like it.
That was great.
Oh, but
I like
after
it.
Fonz Farrelly, thank you for doing the research for me. After they showed schemes on the big screen, LSU sack, overtime, LSU wins toss, Ole Miss holding, incomplete pass, false start, Weeks pass breakup, incomplete pass, 57-yard field goal, LSU walks it off with a touchdown. So nothing bad happened.
Nothing bad happened after that.
It's a legend.
We're gonna have to. They might just have to
Keep that one
hang
in.
the ball in his living room, like next week or something.
Zoom in.
No doubt. What a game. What a weekend. Now we move on.
And
24-hour rule is in effect. Move on, prepare. Got a lot more to go.
somebody just put in the chat also, Mertz is out for the season. Oh, Fonz again. Mertz out for the season.
Yep.
DJ Lagway's team.
Yep. Graham Mertz, torn ACL, out for the year. Tough because they felt like they were starting to play a little bit better of football.
They were playing a little give and take.
Right.
Little Jordan Jefferson.
Well, it's been a rough go over there for Billy, huh? God,
yeah, it's been tough.
If he'd have won that one,
If he'd have won that one, that would have helped him out a
that would have
lot.
saved his job.
But he did not. So we move on. All right. Enjoy the rest of your Monday. Enjoy Monday Night Football. Jets are up 10-7. Aaron Rodgers looking better. They're running the football better. Breece Hall's got 44 yards rushing. Aaron Rodgers threw a touchdown pass to Garrett
Wilson
in the back of the end zone. Great catch. Kept his feet in. They are up 10-7. Have the ball again at the 20-yard line, going the opposite direction. So it's it feels like
Smells
new
like team
coach.
spirit.
New coach. Pass interference. Now they're moving down. New coach thing. Anytime you get a fired coach,
Little interim.
that next game. Listen, there was a guy on Instagram posted his, I think it was like a 12-leg parlay, and he won them all. $10 to win $123,000.
Couldn't be me.
Right? The last one he needed, he has
Jets
the
money
Jets
line?
money line. And so the question is, do you cash
that
out?
thing. Cash that thing out.
$10. He right now.
You gotta cash that out, bro.
Right now he can. Right now he can cash out for $36K.
Instead of
cash that out.
$123,000.
No, I'm letting it ride.
Yep.
They don't offer you odds that make any sense at all. Like, you want 30K? It's like, no, I want 100K.
Yeah.
12-leg parlay.
Just go and hedge it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Go hedge it the other way.
And make 40.
You know,
60.
so if you say I'm going to take the 36,000 or I'm going to bet however much you want to bet on the other side, go win the 123 and just give up the $20,000 or whatever else it is you want.
That's too much work. I'm just going to fucking sweat this one out. Come on, Aaron.
That's what I would do. You just hedge it the other side.
I mean, if you're betting.
Yeah, now that you're telling me that it went from 126 down to 30 something, yeah, I'm riding it out, cuz.
Yeah, I mean it's money line. It's not like it's a spread. So one team's got to win, one team's got to lose. So just take the other side. It's not like it was almost like a pick 'em anyway. So it's not like they're giving up a bunch of juice.
Yeah, but oh no, I'm just saying.
You win either way.
No, not if you don't hedge it. That's what I'm saying.
I'm talking about hedging
yeah,
it.
but I'm not hedging it. The sweat this man must feel.
I bet you he hedged it.
I wouldn't.
I bet you he did though. Smart man would hedge it.
If you're betting $10 parlays,
I mean,
with 50 grand.
How do you know he's got that to hedge? Like, how do you know that?
That's what. Yeah, you don't because this man had put in a 16-leg parlay for $10. He ain't smart.
Like, how do you know he's got that to hedge it?
Here's the deal. If I was him, I'd go to someone else and say, listen to me. This is a guarantee.
Oh, go to Jim Bohannon.
Give me this money. If I win it, you get X amount. If I lose it, I'll give you. You're going to get your money back plus.
And then you don't pay him.
A little bit.
Well, how much would you give him then? How much would you be giving away at that point?
So if he gave, let's say I hedged 20K, and he said, "Give me 20K. I'm gonna bet 20K on the other end of this, right? Money line for the Bills, right? I'm gonna give you your 20K back if we win that, and then we can, split.
You're down 50-50.
You can't go 50-50, but you
get an extra 20K on top.
You get an extra 20K on top, whatever it is, right? If I lose it.
You still get 20K.
Giving him a full 20. So you're giving him 100% return.
Well, I'm giving him his money back.
On a for sure bet. Like there's zero.
I'm giving his money back. I'm not giving
there's no gambling to
right.
It.
Well, I gotta see what the odds are. I don't know what the odds are to go.
Well, that's why I'm asking. Like that's why I was asking.
I don't know what it is.
That's,
I wouldn't give him back 20 plus 20. I'd probably give him back his money, and I'd probably give him
extra 5.
20%.
I mean, he's risking literally nothing.
20% of the win, 10% of the win, maybe, and give it back to him. Because hey, listen,
that's more than 20. If it's 130K,
I'm not talking about the 120K. I'm talking about if you won the other side. Yeah.
But if you're gonna ask me to take the risk, I'm gonna make it hard for you. Like, why don't you go up to 30, 40? Like, let's see if you really want this or not.
I mean, either way, it's a guarantee. You hedge it. You figure out a way to hedge it. That's what I would do. Go max out some credit cards.
That's what you should do. I agree with that.
And then you go pay it back.
I agree you should, but I'm just saying, like, maybe he didn't, but like you said, go find somebody.
Go find it. You're hedging that, no doubt.
Yeah.
I would wait too long.
Time's ticking too, but go find it.
Yeah. And like I said, if you put $10 on a 12-team parlay, you probably need 30K. So 100K is like, damn, that would be nice, but I need this money.
No doubt. No doubt. All right. Enjoy the rest of your night. We appreciate y'all. We love y'all. Please like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. If you don't like watching us, would you like listening to us or anywhere you get your pods? We'll be back live in studio on Wednesday from 6 to 8 p.m. We appreciate y'all. We love y'all. It's Ask Mikey and Mitch on Wednesday. Throw your questions in social media and then obviously in the chat as we continue to go and play and have the show and go about the show and play. We love y'all. We appreciate y'all. Enjoy sports this week. Enjoy playoff baseball.
Sign off, dude. Yeah.
Enjoy playoff baseball. Enjoy Monday Night Football. We'll see you on Wednesday. We love y'all.
We'll talk LSU baseball on Wednesday. A lot of people are asking. Love you.
Love you.
Go Tigers.